We bought the same sterling silver from 3 different stores. One charged around $80, another charged $350, the third charged $800. Same metal, same purity. And when we calculated the actual silver inside, the most expensive bracelet contained barely $40 more silver than the cheapest one. The store you trust by default is quietly swapping its silver with a completely different material and hoping you never notice. The store nobody associates with jewelry delivered the best value in this entire test. Before this video ends, you'll know which store is which. Why you've already overpaid. See, most people you know buy silver jewelry the way they buy painkillers at a pharmacy. They reach for the name they recognize, pay whatever's on the label, and never once check whether the store brand on the bottom shelf uses the exact same formula for a fraction of the price. That habit costs you a few extra dollars at the pharmacy. At a jewelry counter, it costs you hundreds. The silver industry has spent decades making sure you never check the bottom shelf. Number 1, Pandora. Let's start where most silver buyers start. Pandora, the charm bracelet, the snake chain, the little box with the crown logo. If you've purchased sterling silver jewelry in the last 15 years, or received it as a gift, or watched someone unwrap it at a birthday table, Pandora was almost certainly involved. Founded in Copenhagen in 1982, Pandora is now the single largest jewelry brand on the planet by production volume. Over 117 million pieces per year, sold in more than 100 countries through roughly 6,700 stores worldwide. Revenue in 2026 alone hit $5.1 billion. What Pandora does well is real, with a very simple model. Buy the bracelet first. Then collect charms over time. One for a birthday, one for a trip, one for a milestone. Each piece adds to a story that sits on your wrist. And at entry prices starting around $80 for a bracelet and $50 for an individual charm, Pandora made that ritual accessible to nearly everyone. Now, that accessibility is what they have earned over the decades. However, once you stop admiring the packaging and start examining what's actually inside it, the entire picture shifts dramatically. And to see the shift clearly, you need to understand one thing about the metal sitting on every Pandora shelf in the world right now. What 925 actually means. Sterling silver is an alloy, 92.5% pure silver, 7.5% other metals, usually copper. That ratio is universal. Every piece of jewelry that meets the standard carries the same stamp, 925. And here's a detail that earns its place in this video. Tiffany Company established this exact purity standard in 1851. The United States government adopted it afterward. The formula hasn't changed since. So when you see 925 on a Pandora bracelet, and 925 on a Tiffany bracelet, and 925 on a bracelet from any other store on the planet, you're looking at the same chemical composition. The silver doesn't know which logo is printed on the receipt. Now, here's the number. Silver currently trades at approximately $70 per troy ounce. That price has more than doubled since early 2025. At today's rate, 1 gram of sterling silver is worth roughly $2.10. A typical women's bracelet weighs between 15 and 30 grams. That puts the raw silver value of most bracelets on the market somewhere between $31 and $63. Hold those two numbers, same alloy, universally stamped, and a raw metal cost you can calculate on your phone in 10 seconds. 'Cause together, they expose a figure that Pandora's marketing team would prefer you never see. The 80% problem. Pandora's gross profit margin in 2024 was 79.8%. Let that settle. Approximately 80 cents of every dollar you hand Pandora is gross profit. The raw materials, the manufacturing, the labor, the shipping, all of it fits inside the remaining 20 cents. On an $80 bracelet, that means the silver, the clasp, the tie factory workers' time, and the box it ships in cost Pandora roughly $16 combined. The other $64 covers marketing, retail overhead, executive salaries, and profit. On a $50 charm, the silver content alone is worth maybe $5 to $10. Everything else is margin. And here's the part that actually stings. Pandora jacked up prices twice in a single year. 5% in October 2024, another 4% in April 2025. Both times the company blamed rising silver costs. Yet the gross margin held at 80%. The company absorbed nothing. You absorbed everything. Silver got more expensive, and Pandora simply passed the entire bill to you while keeping the spread intact. where the silver actually comes from. Pandora manufactures every single piece of its jewelry in Thailand. 2 facilities, one in Bangkok, one in Lamphun. Over 13,200 workers between them. The Copenhagen origin story, the Danish design heritage, the Scandinavian aesthetic, all of that lives in the branding. The actual labor happens inside Thai factories that Pandora's founder set up in 1989 specifically because the cost of production there made the margins viable. Pandora's own CEO said it plainly in a 2025 interview. Producing jewelry in America simply won't work. I can't find that amount of talent that actually has this craft experience in the US. Read past the diplomatic phrasing. The business model requires Thai wages. A factory in Rhode Island would collapse the margin structure that Wall Street expects every quarter. This is a publicly traded $4.2 billion a year, margin-optimized operation listed on the Copenhagen Stock Exchange. Every quarterly earnings call is a performance review on how efficiently the company converts Thai labor and commodity silver into European retail prices. The detail most Pandora buyers still don't know. In February 2026, Pandora made an announcement that changes what you're actually buying when you walk into one of their stores. The company is replacing sterling silver with platinum-plated alloy. A pilot already rolled out across 30 stores in Northern Europe during the first quarter of 2026. A global rollout follows in the second half of the year. And Pandora's own internal projections call for shifting at least half of the silver product line to platinum-plated pieces over the coming years. Here's what platinum-plated actually means. A base metal alloy core, not silver, coated with a thin surface layer of platinum. The precious metal content drops from 92.5% under sterling silver to whatever thickness the plating process deposits on the outside. The price stays the same. Pandora's most popular bracelet still costs around $80, whether it's made from sterling silver or platinum-plated alloy. Same receipt, less metal. And the company's public framing tells you everything about how they want this story to land. Innovation, premium, platinum doesn't tarnish, certified hypoallergenic, exceptionally well-suited for everyday wear. They even ran a 23,000-person consumer study and highlighted one result in the press release. 78% of respondents recognized platinum as a precious metal. Pandora is banking on the word platinum to make a cost-cutting measure sound like a luxury upgrade. Their own announcement used this phrase: navigate the new realities of raw material costs. That's corporate language for silver got too expensive for our 80% margin, so we're swapping the precious metal for a cheaper alternative and trusting you not to notice. The silver charm bracelet you fell in love with 5 years ago? The one you've been adding charms to at every birthday, every Christmas, every anniversary? Pandora is quietly gutting the material that bracelet was built on. The charms still look the same. The prices still look the same. The packaging still looks the same. The metal inside doesn't. And the tarnish issue, the one Pandora buyers have complained about for years, suddenly becomes the marketing hook for the replacement. Platinum does not tarnish, which is true. But sterling silver that you maintain properly can last generations? Pandora's answer to a fixable maintenance issue wasn't better care instructions. It was removing the precious metal entirely and positioning the downgrade as a benefit. The brand built on silver is walking away from silver. The 80% margin demanded it. And if that margin shocks you, wait until you see what the next store charges for the exact same metal. Because Pandora's 80% looks almost reasonable compared to the markup at the most famous silver jeweler on Earth. Number 2, Tiffany Company. Tiffany Company charges $350 to $900 for a sterling silver bracelet. Same 925 stamp, same alloy. And by the end of this section, you'll know exactly how much of that receipt is silver and how much is a blue box. Founded before World War II in New York City, Tiffany is the name most people picture when they imagine the ceiling of jewelry retail. The Robin's Egg blue box. The Fifth Avenue flagship. The legacy that stretches back further than most countries' constitutions. And unlike nearly every brand that trades on reputation, Tiffany's silver credentials are historically earned. In 1851, Tiffany established the 925 purity standard for sterling silver in the United States. The same standard the government later adopted. The same standard that every jeweler in this video and every jeweler on the planet still follows today. Tiffany didn't inherit silver prestige. The company created it. The craftsmanship reflects that legacy. Settings are precise. Metal finishing carries the kind of hand attention that factory production almost never achieves. Approximately 60% of Tiffany's manufacturing still happens domestically. Workshops in Kentucky, New York, and Rhode Island. That's a higher ratio of American production than either competitor in this comparison. After the sale, the relationship continues. Complimentary cleaning, resizing, and lifetime maintenance for the piece. The Return to Tiffany collection, rooted in a key ring design from 1969, has been a cultural fixture for over half a century. On pure heritage and craftsmanship, Tiffany occupies a position that Pandora and Costco can't touch. Where the blue box stops making sense. Well, it's the prices that work against them. A Return to Tiffany heart tag bead bracelet in sterling silver, $350. A heart tag charm bracelet, $800. A full heart bracelet, $550. Heart tag earrings with a single small diamond, $650. Now run the math you already know. A 25-gram Tiffany silver bracelet at today's spot price contains roughly $52 of silver. The remaining $298 to $748 on that receipt covers the brand name, the blue box, the Fifth Avenue rent, the LVMH quarterly earnings target, and the intangible feeling of walking out of a Tiffany store. Industry analysts have put the spread plainly. Tiffany sterling silver trades at 2 to 5 times the intrinsic value of the metal. One competitor jeweler wrote that, for the cost of a basic Tiffany silver bracelet, you could purchase a genuine diamond piece from another brand, not a comparable silver piece. A diamond. And here's a detail worth checking before you buy. Tiffany's return window is 30 days. Anything personalized or engraved is final sale. Every return requires the original packaging, down to the box and the pouch, or the return gets denied. And if it was a gift? No refund at all. Exchange or store credit only. The most expensive silver in this test comes with the tightest return policy. Let that sink in. The LVMH factor. In January 2021, the French luxury conglomerate LVMH, parent company of Louis Vuitton Dior and Moet Hennessy, acquired Tiffany Co. for $15.8 billion. Since that acquisition, Tiffany operates inside a corporate machine built to maximize luxury margins across every brand in the portfolio. The pricing structure no longer reflects a silversmith's economics. It reflects a multinational luxury conglomerate's economics. Consumer perception has already started to shift. TikTok creators with millions of combined views have targeted the gap between what Tiffany charges for silver and what that silver actually contains. Tiffany is a scam has become a recurring refrain, and while the phrasing is blunt, the underlying math isn't wrong. Where Tiffany lands. The silver is real. The craftsmanship is earned. The heritage stretches back further than either competitor. Nobody disputes any of that. Yet the value per dollar, measured purely by what your money buys in actual metal, is the lowest in this entire comparison. Tiffany charges luxury prices for a commodity material. The experience may justify the premium for the buyer who values it. The metal inside the bracelet never will. If the blue box and the history hold genuine emotional weight for the person receiving the gift, Tiffany delivers that feeling beautifully. If the priority is the silver on your wrist and the number it costs to put there, the arithmetic falls apart the moment you look at it. So between Pandora's 80% margin and Tiffany's 500% plus markup, the obvious question becomes, does anywhere sell this same metal without gouging you for a brand story? The answer is absolutely yes. And it's the last place you'd ever think to look. Number 3, Costco. This is where you buy 48 rolls of toilet paper, a 5-pound bag of frozen shrimp, and a rotisserie chicken on your way to loading a flatbed cart into the back of your car. The thought of buying a sterling silver bracelet from the same building that sells bulk laundry detergent strikes most people as absurd. It sounds like buying a tuxedo at a gas station. That reaction is exactly why this section exists. What most people don't know. Costco employs nearly 24 GIA graduate gemologists on its quality control team. These are professionals who completed the same gemological training as experts at the world's most prestigious jewelry houses. Their job is making sure nothing substandard ever reaches the Costco jewelry case. The metals are real. The same 925 sterling silver that Tiffany and Pandora sell. The same 14 karat, 18 karat, and 22 karat gold. The same platinum. For diamonds over 1 carat, full GIA certification is mandatory. Not IGI, not GSI, the global benchmark. And Costco does something that neither Pandora nor Tiffany does in quite the same way. The company also sells gold and silver bullion, bars and coins stamped with weight and purity, strategically sourced. Costco treats precious metals as a commodity with a transparent market price, 'cause that's exactly what they are. That perspective shapes every piece of jewelry in the case. A traditional jeweler starts with the emotion and works backward to the price. Costco starts with the material cost and adds a thin margin on top. The pricing. A sterling silver bracelet at Costco typically falls between $50 and $150. Same 925 purity stamped on the clasp. Same alloy composition. Same chemical properties as the $350 bracelet behind the Tiffany counter, or the $80 bracelet on the Pandora shelf. The model is identical to every other department in the warehouse. Low margin, high volume, no sales pitch. And the return policy alone separates Costco from every other store in this comparison. 90 days, full refund, no caveats, no fine print, no packaging requirements, no requirement to bring it in for cleaning, and hope they honor a vague warranty. Tiffany gives you 30 days and requires every piece of original packaging. Pandora offers free polishing and nothing else. Costco gives you 3 full months to change your mind entirely. The weaknesses of Costco. This is where Costco falls short. Selection is limited and it rotates. You can't walk in expecting to find a specific piece. Designs trend conservative and conventional. There's no charm ecosystem, no personalization, no custom work, no engraving counter. The staff at the jewelry case are warehouse employees. They can show you what's available. They aren't walking you through metal composition or helping you choose between 2 similar pieces with the kind of expertise a dedicated jeweler offers. There's no romantic experience here. No velvet presentation tray, no soft lighting, no champagne, no story to tell about how you found the piece. And once you walk out the door, the relationship's over. Costco doesn't resize, doesn't clean, doesn't maintain. Nobody at dinner will know you bought jewelry at Costco unless you volunteer that information. And for a buyer who values the shopping ritual as much as the product itself, that absence is a real cost. Why none of that changes the result? Because Costco's silver is real, the purity is verified, and the price for an identical metal at identical purity undercuts both competitors by a margin that's frankly embarrassing for the other two. A Costco bracelet and a Tiffany bracelet, placed side by side on a jeweler's bench with no logos and no boxes, contain the same material. One cost $80, the other cost $800. The silver doesn't perform differently because of the name engraved on the clasp. Side-by-side comparison? Here's how all 3 stores stacked up when we stripped away the marketing and measured the metal. Number 1, material purity. Pandora uses 925 sterling silver, but the company's already transitioning to platinum-plated base metal alloy in 2026, reducing the precious metal content to a surface coating. Tiffany uses 925 sterling silver. Costco uses 925 sterling silver. Number 2, raw silver value versus retail price. On a comparable bracelet, Pandora charges around $80 for roughly $31 to $35 of silver. Tiffany charges $350 to $800 for roughly $45 to $55 of silver. Costco charges $50 to $150 for roughly $30 to $45 of silver. Number 3, manufacturing. Pandora manufactures 100% of its jewelry in Thailand. Tiffany manufactures approximately 60% in the United States, with the remainder produced internationally. Costco sources from various suppliers with no single country manufacturing claim. Number 4, gross margin. Pandora operates at approximately 80%. Tiffany operates at luxury conglomerate margins under LVMH. Costco operates at warehouse margins built to move volume, not maximize per unit profit. Number 5, return policy. Pandora offers free cleaning with no tarnish warranty. Tiffany allows returns within 30 days with all original packaging required, and anything personalized is final sale. Costco provides a 90-day full refund with absolutely no restrictions. Number 6, trust. Pandora is replacing its core material with plated alloy at the same price while framing the change as a premium upgrade. Tiffany carries 190 years of earned heritage, though the LVMH-era pricing increasingly detaches the receipt from the metal. Costco sells precious metals as a commodity, staffs GIA-trained gemologists behind the scenes, and has no brand narrative to protect. Line those 6 categories up, and the conclusion becomes very hard to argue with. The clear winner. If this were a test of charm bracelet ecosystems and emotional collecting, Pandora wins that conversation easily. If this were a test of heritage, craftsmanship, and the weight of history, Tiffany takes it and nobody argues. But this was a test of what your dollar actually buys in silver. Same alloy, same purity stamp. 3 different stores. And on that single measure, the result was decisive. Costco is by far the clear winner. The purity is identical. The markup is a fraction of the competition. The return policy is the most generous in the test. And the quality control infrastructure, staffed by GIA-trained professionals, quietly operates at a level that rivals the luxury end of the market. Costco doesn't win by selling cheaper silver. It wins by selling the same silver at a dramatically lower price. Because jewelry is a department inside a warehouse, not the identity of a publicly traded fashion company optimizing margins for quarterly earnings calls. The bracelet on your wrist doesn't know whether it arrived in a blue box, a Danish pouch, or the same bag as a case of sparkling water. It either holds its purity, keeps its shape, and survives years of daily wear, or it doesn't. By every one of those measures, Costco delivered. And on value, the gap wasn't even close. So, what should you actually buy? Well, you should buy from Pandora, if the charm ecosystem genuinely matters to you. If building a bracelet one memory at a time, collecting pieces that mark birthdays and milestones and people you love, holds real emotional weight, Pandora designed that experience better than anyone on the market. Just understand that you're funding an 80% gross margin on Thai-manufactured jewelry. Understand that the company's already replacing sterling silver with a plated alloy core. And understand that the same metal, at the same purity, is available elsewhere for a fraction of what Pandora charges. Walk in with that knowledge, and the decision is yours. Buy from Tiffany. If the heritage, the blue box, and the Tiffany name are part of what you're purchasing, if the person receiving the piece will feel the weight of 190 years of craftsmanship in the moment, and if the premium sits comfortably within your budget, Tiffany delivers a beautiful product inside a storied institution. Just understand that the silver is chemically identical to what Costco sells for 75 to 90% less. Understand that the receipt reflects the name far more than it reflects the metal. And understand that many of those pieces can't be returned. Buy from Costco, if the silver itself is what matters. If you want the same 925 purity, the same alloy, and a 90-day return window that lets you change your mind completely, at a price that independent appraisers would struggle to undercut, Costco is the smartest purchase in this comparison. Except that there's no romance in the shopping experience. Except that you'll need a local jeweler for resizing and cleaning down the road. Except that the packaging won't generate gasps at the table. The metal inside will hold up exactly as long as anything in a blue box or a Danish pouch, 'cause it's the same metal. What jewelers say off the record. We asked independent jewelers and gemologists with no brand affiliations, no retail commissions, and no stake in any store in this comparison to evaluate the same 925 sterling silver from 3 different counters, an $80 Pandora bracelet, a $350 Tiffany bracelet, and a $90 Costco bracelet. Here are their responses, lined up with uncomfortable consistency. On Pandora, the 80% margin came up before we even asked about it. One gemologist called the core product aggressively overpriced for what it is materially. Another focused entirely on the platinum pivot. They're replacing the precious metal with a coated alloy and positioning it as innovation. Call it what it is. It's a margin play dressed in press release language. On Tiffany, every jeweler we spoke with acknowledged the craftsmanship. Every single one. The heritage earned genuine respect. Yet every single one also acknowledged the premium, unprompted. On Costco, the tone changed. Multiple independent jewelers quietly admitted they'd purchased jewelry from Costco themselves. One described it as the worst-kept secret in the industry. Another offered the most memorable line. Costco has no reason to oversell you. Silver isn't their identity. They aren't building a brand story around the bracelet. They move a quality product at a fair margin and let you decide. Whether that honesty is philosophy or just business structure, the result's the same. The people who work with silver for a living buy theirs from the same warehouse where you buy groceries. That tells you more than this entire video could. What do we say? Well, your silver doesn't care about the name on the receipt. It cares about the purity of the alloy, the quality of the clasp, and whether the store that sold it to you told you the truth about what you were actually getting. Where'd you buy your last piece of silver jewelry? And knowing what you know now, would you buy from them again? Drop it in the comments. 'Cause the most expensive silver mistake isn't buying the wrong bracelet. It's never learning that the same metal was already sitting in a place you walked past on your way to buy groceries. If this changed how you think about silver jewelry, hit like and subscribe. We test what the industry hopes you never compare. I'll see you in the next one.